Yvan Biot is Senior Scientist at the Department for International Development. Yvan, what are the issues faced in getting policymakers to make evidence-based policy decisions?
There's two answers to this, really. One is on the supply side, and the other one is on the demand side, I suppose. On the supply side, we find that a lot of the evidence that we need in order to make good policy isn't there. A lot of it's either not there, or it's not represented in the way that is useful to us, or it is not rigorous enough, or it doesn't answer a particular question that we have. So that's on the supply side where one of the problems is. On the demand side is the point that actually we as policymakers aren't always very clear about how to ask the scientific community to provide the evidence that we need. And we're not very clear always and very transparent about the way in which we make policy, which should actually guide researchers in terms of their scientific endeavors.
So how are you tackling this problem?
Well, we're tackling it in exactly that kind of way. We first of all, in DFID, we have a fairly significant research program, probably the biggest one of the bilateral organizations, and the very purpose of that research commissioning exercise is to produce the evidence base that we require. So certainly in the last few years we have put out a number of requests for evidence generation that are going to answer specific questions. A typical example of that is commissioning of impact evaluations. Another one is the commissioning of systematic reviews that are aimed at answering particular questions. A third one is the conduct of or the promotion of operational research. The other thing that we have done is to make sure that we incentivize the people, our policy people in the department and the people who design business cases to consider the evidence base. So within the whole policy making cycle and the whole business case cycle, we have provided requirements for our staff to cite and to assess the strength of the evidence that they use to support particular proposals.
And if you're successful at this, what will the results be in the longer term?
Well, the first result is that we will be able to tell the Exchequer and also the British public that their money has been put to good use. So the first and strongest argument in support of all of this is value for money. Of course, this is, if you want, a very crude measure, and this value for money measure probably hides a lot of very complicated arguments, some of which are to do with immediate benefits, but some others are to do with longer-term benefits, especially in our climate change work.
And what will the longer-term impact be on sustainability?
Again, using strong evidence that things work or do not work, and using this appropriately in our business cases and our policies should, in theory at least, almost as an automatic rational deduction from this, it should lead to a longer-term benefit. In cases where we do promote policy ideas, where we promote projects and where we fund projects where the evidence base is weak, we're actually very careful these days in terms of following this up. So in those cases we do recommend the use of often independent, preferably independent bits of research or monitoring and evaluation or impact evaluation exercises that go along the implementation of these programs, and we design them such that we can actually change direction if the evidence shows that what we're doing is wrong.